Welcome to the Crows Corner podcast where we discuss all things Wizards. Spoiler warning before we begin. Today it's me, Gracie, and Nell.
Hi guys. Gracie, how was the meet and greet with Freddie?
It was very good. However, I was extremely nervous, and they had a delay on the obviously you get a time slot, but they were running a bit late. So by the time I got on, it was like half an hour later than my time slot. So I'd just been sitting on the thing where it's like waiting to be let in, whatever. And so that was like making my nerves increase. So by the time I actually got to Freddie, I was a bit on edge, and I'm not good with social interaction, let's say, and it's Freddie Carter. So I think for half of it, I sounded like I was about to cry. But he was so lovely, and I asked him a few questions. I had quite a few questions I wanted to ask, and there were a few Shadow and Bone ones that were possibly slightly generic, but I really wanted to ask him about his directing because I didn't think that was something that many people would ask him, and that was it's like kind of what I want to do in the future and things, so it would like in really well. But I panicked and didn't ask that question first. And I only asked 2 questions, and then the little moderator person came on and was like, "Hi, that's it, that's the end." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I didn't ask the question I actually wanted to the most, but oh well."
Rude.
That's okay. Aren't you gonna meet them next year?
Yes, so I am. I'm going to meet them. So far, I have Freddie, Amita, Kate, and Ben.
You're gonna
literally freaking out this moment. It's like, that's so lucky.
I know. I've spent Shadow and Bone has emptied my bank account.
You're literally going to Paris. Are you kidding?
I know.
That's insane. I'm going with you, whatever. I'm gonna save up. I'm gonna do it.
You should come along.
You can come and
stay in my hotel room with me. Granted,
Gracie, stop. I will do it. Stop. No, you can't do that because I will get my hopes up and I will empty my whole bank account. My college savings will be gone. So let's
Did you say you're going to go on a gap year? You can definitely meet Gracie on Paris.
I also met Callahan.
You did?
Yeah. I am.
That big giant teddy bear.
He is. I wasn't meant to, but I don't know if you saw like the tickets, but he was doing a Q&A, and all the others are like quite expensive. I mean,
yeah,
like 45 for like a meet and greet or whatever, 50 whatever for the one-on-ones and stuff. And this Q&A was 10 euros, and I was like, there must be something here that's not right. Like, that can't just be 10 euros. 30 minutes, and you got to just ask them questions, granted with other people, but you know, that's essentially what the meet and greet is as well. You get 30 minutes with 30 people and you just get to talk to them. So I was like, that can't be right. So I didn't buy one. And then this afternoon there was still tickets left, and I was like, I'm just gonna buy one. It was like £8 for me. So I was like, I'm just gonna get one. I won't get to speak to him, but I'll get to see him, and that's enough for me. So I went on, and then I saw a tweet that Empire had put out saying that there was only going to be about 40 people in this room with Callahan, and I was like, that's only 10 more than the meet and greets. Like, it's not like they're trying to fit as many people into the canon for this 10 euro. So that was slightly delayed as well. And then when they announced that like you could then log on, I was like a minute late. So I was like, oh, I'm definitely not going to get to speak to him now because other people are already in and got their little hand icons up. And we were getting close to the time, and then they go, okay, so next question's from Gracie. And I was like, oh, hang on a minute.
Oh my God.
So I got to speak to him directly and ask him my question. His answer was so great. So I said, basically, what's one thing he would want to see Matthias do or whatever that isn't in the books? So he'd said he would love to see conversation between him and Inej, just like in the back of the Crow Club or whatever, just see what their dynamic is like, and just the dynamic between all of the crows basically and Matthias, and just like in a bit more detail. And then he was like, and of course, the relationship between him and Nina, and he was like, I want some more steamy scenes.
Oh my god, he said that?
Yeah. He's like, you can't have like, and like you always need more of that. And I was like,
You can't have too many. Wow, he is wild.
so yeah, so I actually got to speak to him as well, which I wasn't expecting. So all of that, and I spent £8.
Recently, everyone has been going on like meets and greets, but virtually, like through screen.
Yeah.
So maybe the cast like remembers the background of someone, or like their like questions something. They could be like, "Oh, it's you again," but in a good way.
I've seen a few people on my timeline who've kind of gone to like each one and met the same like cast member a couple of times, and I'd seen like them tweeting going, oh my god, they remembered me, like they knew who I was. And I was like, imagine being able to go on and be like them going, oh hi again, like it's nice to see you again.
I would die.
That's so adorable.
I would pass out. Are you kidding?
I kind of want to try, and if there was another convention, did it maybe get another Freddie ticket and try and speak to him as many times as possible until I actually meet him in Paris in person, and then see if he then might remember me that way, because I then have spoken to him quite a few times.
The conventions, that would be so amazing though. I would literally just, faint on the ground.
I'm just gonna say this. I promoted our podcast on a Wattpad comment section. I was reading a Marauders fanfic, and in the comment section there was a Shadow and Bone reference in the story. All the comments were like, oh my god, Shadow and Bone, I was
Let's just firstly focus on the fact that you read fanfiction from Wattpad. That's illegal. There's only
I have
get out.
I do.
Yeah,
you sometimes just need to though. Like the AO3 is definitely superior, but you sometimes just need a Wattpad story.
And people, it's just that
I will
people
really fight you on this.
because you don't know how to find good books.
Don't be all mokey on me.
There's definitely like
I find good books.
Wattpad definitely has more trashy ones, and that you just don't want to read, and have got terrible writing, because that's the first thing. Like when I first started getting into fan fiction, I read fics for like 3-4 years before I even knew AO3 existed.
Same.
And like, so people who are starting off reading fanfic are gonna go to Wattpad, and that's when you get the crappy ones. But when you actually can know how to find the ones where I've got good writing, you can get some bangers on Wattpad.
And there's authors like this one author that I really love. Her stories connect to each other even though they're different books.
I love when that happens.
I was like, okay, and I don't like to read ship fanfics unless it's Wolfstar, which then I kind of read Wolfstar fanfics, but
Moonstar.
Moonstar, is that what it's called now? God, I'm getting old. No. But I read Wolfstar, and then I mostly read OCs, like original characters.
I do. And I feel like I get judged for that.
Wait.
But most of my fanfics are OC.
I love you. Oh my god, you're the only person I know that actually reads OC fanfics.
No, I just read a James Potter one yesterday.
Me too. Stop.
This is the Game On. This is the one I've just read.
Send me a link.
It's it is good, and they don't die, so it's always a plus.
So ridiculous.
But no, send me good OC ones of the Marauders, because honestly, it's what I thrive off them, and I never admit that to people, because everyone's like, "Oh, you read OCs?" No, what? Ew. And I'm like, that's my thing.
What do you think that the Grissaverse characters' comfort shows would be?
I feel like Jesper would be something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like that type of vibe.
Yeah,
With kind of like
did.
that type of humor running through it.
I definitely thought that Alina and like Zoya could work together friends or something like that, or Anne with an E.
I've never seen Anne with an E. I'm really bad at shows like
No, but get this, Wylan would absolutely love Young Royals.
yes, he would. He would.
I know.
And that's why Wylan would be my bestie.
I wish they would pick more like unknown people for book adaptations.
Yeah.
But not.
I liked when they did that with, because Shadow and Bone were apart from Ben Barnes, were pretty much all unknown actors. I like when they do that. I like having people that you don't really know, because when I read a book, I don't go and picture an A-list celebrity as that character.
Exactly. You picture like a whole different person. You invent this person in your head. Except for the Darkling. The Darkling, I kind of pictured Ben Barnes, but more like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. He kind of looked like Ben Barnes.
Mine was definitely something like Ben Barnes, but a bit more like kind of rough around the edges almost.
Mm-hmm.
And more like,
oh, like that guy that you sent in the group chat. The one who is a Slytherin. Was his name Thomas? No, not Thomas.
Mateo Riddle.
Mateo, yeah.
Yes, so Benjamin Wadsworth.
Oh my god. I kind of
Benjamin Wadsworth in real life. He's in Deadly Class and I really want to watch it. However, apparently the show got cancelled and it ends on a right cliffhanger. So I don't want to then be left hanging.
You said you like reading original characters, right? So there's this book called Potter.
I haven't read it yet because I'm waiting for the sequel to be finished.
It's so good. And she's still updating the sequel, but I'm waiting for her to get done with it so I can fully continue. But yeah, it's so good.
I was looking for a tweet because I'd remembered I'd put one out and I was like,
I'm gonna stalk you.
There was a load of photos of Ben Barnes and it said like, oh, to be hugged like this by Ben Barnes, and I wanted to save it for when I meet him, and then I can put that saying where it started and then how it's going, and then me doing the same pose with him. So I was trying to look for that, so I'd put in like Far From Bucky hug at the end, and I was going through and then I found one and it was 4 pictures of Draco. And I need to give him a hug or something, and it was like him like in Jesus Christ, what's it called? The one where he gets all depressed.
Half-Blood Prince.
Yes, thank you. That the name is just not in my mind there. It was like 4 pictures of him from Half-Blood Prince, like looking really sad. And then I think Deathly Hallows as well, that last one at the, you know, when he's like, and it was like, I need to give him a hug.
Oh my god, Gracie, we've known each other since those days, because I know that I was in fact mutuals with you since like Golden Trio era.
Yeah, I think we knew I was already we were following each other before we got in the group chat together. Yeah.
So. I used to cry over Draco Malfoy fanfics.
Oh, I did too. Oh my god, the Belly one.
What do you mean?
Belly, what was it called? She was called Belly. She died. It was so sad. I cried. I sobbed at that one.
Oh, is that the one that's called like Dear Draco?
Maybe, yes.
I never read that, but I heard about it. I was more of a golden boy fanfic era with Fred Weasley. That was a bad book. I mean, it was kind of good, but he cheated on her.
Oh.
And then the author was like, yeah, but he was under a love potion and she was a Vila. I'm like, I don't care. Ruined everything.
I can't remember the name of it, but there was a Draco fic that I read and the author made like an OC for it. and I fell in love with him and not Draco. It was Lorenzo Berkshire or something. I don't know how to pronounce his surname.
Lorenzo, I heard about.
What's he called? Louis Partridge was the like cast as him, and I was obsessed with him. And it was obviously an OC, so he didn't exist in anything else. But I was literally in love with him, and they didn't end. I was like, screw Draco. They need to end up together.
I don't know how I discovered Wattpad. I think it was like I used to read fanfics on DeviantArt.
Did you?
Oh my god.
I don't know how I got into it. It became a thing. So my first fics that I read were like One Direction, and my mum and things didn't want me to have much technology when I was younger. So I only had like I can't even remember the make of it, but it was like a tablet that was like
a Kindle?
No, it was like it did other stuff, but it was like I can't. It was like a random name make, not one that you would know. And I don't even know. I think I wasn't even on Twitter at the time, so I don't even know how I came across it. But I found it and I became very obsessed and would read fanfic every night. And I mean, some of those One Direction ones were heavy and very inappropriate for me, who was 12 at the time, to be reading.
Well,
and it became a thing that some of the lads in my form class found out that I read fanfics.
Oh no.
So till the day I left, like years ago, it was all I would hear. There was one guy in particular, he used to take the absolute piss out of me and be like, "You're reading about having sex with Niall Horan."
God, I would die.
In front of my whole class. And it's like, he would keep bringing it up. And I forgot I even used to get like teased about it. And then like on one of the last days of school, he was like, "Remember when you read fanfic?" And I was like, don't want to tell him that I still do.
I still do. But this time, it's not One Direction. It's Harry Potter.
Yes, we moved from One Direction. But they were they were...
Yeah, I read, mine was more 5 Sauce.
I got into 5 Sauce after, yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, mine was Harry Styles and then 5 Sauce. Because I wasn't really, well, I grew up with One Direction, so I was kind of like, oh yeah, One Direction, I know it. But I was more like, now I was more into Harry Styles, and then after Harry Styles, I was like, oh, 5 Sauce.
Yeah.
Blood Era, all that was good. And then I read fanfics. They were heavy. Like, why are they writing about those kind of things? I thought it'd be fun. Like,
I learned so much from reading fanfic at that age, though. Like, nothing sex ed at school would ever tell you.
Maybe that's why, like, I'm not, like, I've been exposed to social media since I was very young. I was probably like 9.
Yeah.
So that kind of contributed to my personality now. But it's insane. Like, I tried to get myself to read Michael Clifford fics because I felt bad because I was always reading like Callum and Luke, but never Michael. I was reading.
I don't think I've ever read a Michael one.
I was like, okay, fine, I'll read like one Michael fic, and then they made him so depressed.
He was always depressed in them.
Yeah.
Even I've mainly read Luke and Ashton fics, and he was always like in the background, just depressed.
I read this one Ashton fic called 715, and it was good, but Michael was a depressed, mean person. I get in other books he's like just depressed, right, and sad, but in this book he was like depressed and he was in love with a girl. It was so bad. Writers are so weird for that. He always wore like wristbands, and he took advantage of that and was like, oh yeah, so he does that to himself to hide scars. I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm not reading anymore. So Bad.
I remember, what was it called? I think it's still in my thing. Yeah, I've just checked Wattpad, joined 6 years ago. Like, do you know what's really funny? So the other phase I went through was Dolan Twins.
Oh yeah, I remember you
Yeah.
told me.
So I clearly, I haven't clicked on my profile for ages. I clearly, at some point, started writing an Ethan Dolan fanfic. I've got one called Art by Ethan Dolan. And then the bio is some people are artists, some themselves are art. I don't know if I want to read what I've wrote. But then the first bit is a flashback of them as a kid.
Wait, why does that seem long? Send me the whole thing. Send me the link.
No, it's not published anywhere. It's just in my drafts.
Read it out loud.
Sometimes you just wait, hang on. Sometimes you just want to end things. What if it wasn't just sometimes? What if it wasn't all the time? And nothing could fix me or help me. And then loads of lines down, but him. Let's see what my other one is. Let's go. This is even older than the last one.
This is going in the podcast.
So flashback. There was a knock at the door. Mummy told me not to answer while she was out, but they wouldn't go away. I opened the door to reveal 2 police officers. I hate this like first person crap. Hello, Emma Wright, the tall brown haired officer said.
Emma.
How did he know my name? Yeah, hi. My mummy and daddy aren't home. They went to the shops, so I'll have to wait for them to come back to talk to them. I said shyly. Actually, we're here to talk to you about your parents. I started to worry. Can we come in, love? I nodded and stepped aside to let them in. We all sat down on the sofa and the officer began to speak again. Emma, your parents have been in a serious car accident. He paused. My vision began to go blurry as tears built up in my eyes. I'm afraid that your mother was killed instantly and your father is in critical condition. That's when I couldn't keep my tears in any longer. Floods of tears poured from my eyes. What does critical mean? I asked between sobs. I was only 8, so I didn't know what this meant. Basically, it means that he's very poorly. I hate to tell you this, but the doctors don't think he will survive. Both officers gave me sympathetic looks. Then one continued talking. It means that you'll have to go and live with your aunt and uncle, Lindsay and George, I believe. I nodded, wiping away the tears that were still falling down my now red cheeks. Why did this have to happen? Why me? End of flashback. I've got another one that's apparently Marvel.
Oh no, read it, please.
Let's start Steve's pub. I can't do this anymore. What? I'm sorry. What do you mean? This James. She motioned between the two of them. Us. It's over.
James.
But I love you. And I loved you. Sense of confusion fell over the room.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
It's so short.
Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Oh, your life, you were only waiting.
The fact that I'm gonna get to hug him in 6 months' time is dumb.
Ben Barnes, do you want to start a band with us, please?
Please.
Bye, guys. You'll see Fotini say no more, there's no funerals, because she left us early. Okay.
For tuning in tonight. Once again, I'm your host, Fotini. Thank you all for listening to us. Have a nice day or evening or anything. No mourners.
No funerals.